The mood in Kenya essentially at the moment is quite tense. People just come off this Sabasaba rally where there was an expectation that there might be some violence associated with it. So there's a bit of relief as well. But if you go down to the coast, in the places where the attacks have been happening, there is still quite a lot of fear. People moving out of their houses, moving back to their quote-unquote home areas. So there is still a bit of fear and tension in the country.
Now, Patrick, the Sabasaba rally certainly seemed to have placed opposition leader Raila Odinga back in the spotlight. Do you think to some extent that he may have been using it to gain some kind of political relevance?
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that that's exactly what he was doing. The Sabasaba, the history of Sabasaba as a date that's quite significant in Kenya for marking the fight for political pluralism and for the return or for people fighting for their rights is quite significant, and that's what he's sort of pegging his pedigree on. But it has to be noted that the political class in Kenya has essentially used the fights for democracy. They've pretty much used them to further their own political ends and to hollow out Kenyan democracy and, in essence, to cheat the people out of their freedoms.
Now, Patrick, tell us, there are some concerns of growing ethnic tension. Is there a reason to be concerned?
Well, there is a reason to be concerned, but it's not the reason that's really put out by most. The ethnic tensions in Kenya are essentially stoked by politicians for their own ends. It's not that the Kikuyus have a congenital hatred for the Luos or vice versa. But these tensions are stoked by politicians who are looking to build careers for themselves and essentially to mask the fact that our political class has been essentially stealing from us since we got independence. They've never reformed the colonial state that they took over. And to mask all of that, they hype up ethnic tensions and sort of stampede people into their tribal stockades, essentially to stop them asking uncomfortable questions.
Now, Patrick, if we just go back to looking at some of these recent acts of violence that have taken place around Kenya, has it come to the point that people need to arm themselves because of a perception that government is not capable of protecting the people?
Well, I'm not sure that it's got to that point. For now, it looks like lots of people, it's sort of like a repeat of what had happened in earlier clashes in 2007, in 1997, 1992, which pretty much resulted in people fleeing their homes. In this case, just as before, it's been essentially politically instigated fear or fear-mongering among politicians, so that it's not so much that they're looking at fighting Al-Shabaab, but they're looking to stoke ethnic tensions or to use the fact that there are attacks happening on civilians to further their own agendas. We saw this with the president when he was essentially blaming the opposition for the attacks in Peketoni. Which again now drives up this idea that certain communities are being targeted by others.
You deserve to know more.
eNCA.com